Introduce you to the greatest late night combat sports show bar none. You are now in the Beatdown.
You wanna get beat down?
Let us now introduce you to your host, the Badger, and
As he says, you are now part of the greatest late night combat sports show bar none. That's who used to be called Pretty Ricky. Now we call him the Badger. And I'm Brew. Hey, I've been waiting for Monday. I'm telling you, when you started talking about it was part of our therapy, bro, I'm with it now. I'm with it. I can't afford a therapist, so I look forward to it when we can get up here.
That's what it's all about, bro. And listen, maybe our therapy can be therapy for others. You know, we just bring everybody in and make it a big empath party, I guess. Just get all of us in here together and let's all just soak. It'll be great. Maybe that's what we can do. That can be like the other side of the show, right?
I love it, bro. I love it. Man, look, sports is making news today. We got a lot we can cover. Shakira Stevenson versus Carvalho tomorrow, ESPN. I did not see. Is that an 8 o'clock or a 9 o'clock fight?
I think it starts at, I don't know what time. Let me check because I do not know what time it's supposed to start tomorrow. I definitely know that whatever time it was, I'd have been available though.
Right. Yeah. My DVR is going to be on just in case something happens at my house. Because with a 4-year-old, you never know.
Yeah, things happen.
Yeah, things do happen. Do I smell smoke? Who starts a fire in the bathtub?
See?
She didn't do it. I'm just saying it's not beyond reach, bro. While he's looking for that, listen, Tom Herman, former head coach of the Houston, my goodness, how did I forget Houston's college? They're not the Cougars. Yeah, Houston Cougars. And now the head coach of the Texas Longhorns made a statement calling a lot of people on the carpet, fans and boosters. Tom Herman made the statement that, we fill the stands to cheer for them on Saturdays for 3 hours a day. We expect them to give their all, and then we expect them to go away until next Saturday after the game. And I'm paraphrasing because, I don't want to read the whole quote and ESPN say, hey, you didn't get permission from us.
Okay. Not to cut you off, brother. TV time starts at 7 p.m.
7 p.m. I was an hour late at the earliest. Okay. Yep. So I got to let my mom know because she's a combat sports fiend. What time is that fight tomorrow? So, all right, 7 p.m. And we'll get back to that fight because we both love Shakira Stevenson. But Tom Herman came out and said to the fans that we need to do more to support these players because even though you don't act like it, they are human. 2 questions to you because I've been thinking about this. Do you think it was a good thing that he came out and made the statement? And do you think it was to possibly get ahead of the game and save face since it took so long for any college coach to come out and say anything?
I think both things can be true. I don't think they're exclusive to each other. I think they both can be true. I think Tom Herman could actually be speaking candidly. I think Tom Herman could be speaking strategically. I can see both. I can see a relationship that a younger coach, still a relatively young coach, I'm tripping, but an even younger coach 3 or 4 years ago, the type of commitment, not that the other coaches don't have commitment, but to take a small school like a Houston, a smaller Division I school, and ride that wave all the way to a Peach Bowl win against Florida State, there was a lot of bonding that goes on there. And with a younger coach, the younger coaches seem to be more attached at a different level than the older coaches. Older coaches tend to kind of let their coordinators be that, you know, that you know, that binding piece there from a just getting close to a player standpoint. Nick Saban is not close to every player on his team. Nick Saban is close with probably all the number one guys and maybe the other guy too that may get a lot of playing time. But the red shirt freshman and the second team kicker, he doesn't know those guys, right? So it's the same thing. So Tom Herman could have been doing both. Very smart though. Very smart move. No matter how you look at it, very smart move.
I was just hoping there is some sincerity there. I don't know Tom Herman. Haven't heard a lot of bad things about him. I mean, he took a couple L's in the papers when he left Houston to go to Texas, but nothing that was going to be detrimental to him. I mean, Ed Young, not Ed Young. What's the guy that played for Houston? He could have gone anywhere in the country, but he stayed home.
Oh, Ed Oliver.
Oliver. Ed Oliver had a lot of great things to say about him as to why he made that commitment to go to Houston instead of going to bigger schools where he definitely would have been the first round and had a shot at the championship.
Well, he still got the first round.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, you're right. So, I mean, it says a lot to. It's not always where you play, but it's
and I'm sorry.
No, but it's a lot, especially in the Division I level, how you play.
Yeah, and Tom Herman say his face on two sides here, right? When you're the head ball coach at the University of Texas, you're probably, I'm sure, more popular than the lieutenant governor, if not the governor, right? Mm-hmm. So, you got the keys to the shiny Cadillac, and he played it perfectly. I mean, he spoke for the University of Texas without them having to issue a statement, right? Mm-hmm. Then he also looks better than the other NCAA coaches that he may have to compete with, and it's not a whole lot for recruits. But guess what? Not only am I saying I'm standing in solidarity, I want people to view you the way that I know they already view you. I want them to turn the mirror on themselves because I, as a ball coach, know that they don't probably view you as human, right? And I've seen how they cheer for you, passionately on Saturday afternoons, and then you get back to practice and tell me how mean they were to you in the mall when they didn't know who you were because they didn't recognize you about that jersey and that helmet on, right? So, I mean, he wins on two accords here. I just think it was a great move. Sincere or not, hey, he comes out clean for this one.
It's amazing that you said that because Paul Feinbaum said that this morning. Paul Feinbaum, many people know he's like the reporter of the SEC. And he tells you he spent his whole career. He was born, raised, grew up, and was able to cover football or cover sports in the South. And he said the most disturbing thing that he would hear throughout the years is that a lot of fans, alumni, boosters would make the statement, it's easier for us to root for Black players in football because we don't have to see their face. They keep their helmets on. That was part of the Miami rule, quiet as it's kept, as to why you got a penalty for taking your helmet off. Because it's just easier for people who don't really like you or don't think much of you to root for you if they can see the jersey and the helmet sticker. And then once you come off the field and take your helmet off, they're not really looking at you anyway. But I think it speaks volumes when that is said publicly. Go ahead.
No, I mean you're absolutely correct, and it's always been that way, right? And sadly, I think that's very much as right now it's exposing itself on a racial level because that was indoctrinated in us. But I think that's a very human instinct too. I mean, all the way back to the days of the Coliseum. I mean, they didn't, you didn't really care what the guy did look like, right? You just knew who he was. You rooted for his mascot, right? Mm-hmm. Or his tail or whatever he was wearing. So I mean, I get it. But when Dabo Swinney is dropping the ball, and when Mike Norvell is making up stories, and when other coaches are just completely quiet, it kind of, you come out looking real good.
Go back to that one because I heard about Mike Norvell, but I did not hear what Mike Norvell said.
Basically, to sum it up, he sent out correspondence to a media outlet saying that he had personal talks with every player on his team and how much the incidents impacted him or said, whatever is insert empathy, sympathy, whatever, right? All those other words. And then he goes back and his team is like, bro, that never happened. You didn't say any. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen you since I've been back. We haven't even been allowed to meet. Like they just kind of rolled the whole thing back on him, right? And it just made him look so bad. And then it starts like, well, are white people really being empathetic, or are they just saying it to save face? Because really, they're just detached. Right. And clearly, making up a lie like that shows that you're just so detached on so many levels because it's just a conversation. He could have called a team meeting via text and just said, hey, team, we're going to have a meeting on such and such a date. We got some things to discuss. Boom. Right? But instead, you make it seem as if you sat down and talked to every single. It was just so. It not only was it a lie, it was just very disingenuous. It's just bad look for Mike Norvell.
No, Mike Norvell will be the first year, be the new coach of what school?
The Florida State University.
Way to go. Way to start it out. We were talking about them last week about how they had to hide Charlie Ward as a punter for 2 years because of the boosters. Now you got this come out.
And listen, man, they ain't playing until last. They got a lot of damage control going on, man. You got the mayor turning tricks down in Miami with his wife in the hotel. Listen, they got a lot of things they got to worry about, man.
Who?
What?
Who turning tricks down in Miami with a girl?
Man, you gotta chill, bro. We're not gonna talk about that. Don't worry about it then.
No, come on, bro. Don't make me have to watch the show back to find out. Who?
What do you mean? The mayor of Tallahassee, man. What do you mean?
The mayor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is it about people who are running for? Well, never mind. Okay, I'll leave that alone.
Yeah, don't do it.
Hey. All right, then. I think it's very interesting now that these coaches are being called out on the carpet, some by their players, and then you have other schools now who are saying that their players are free to discuss this in social media. They're not putting the gloves on them. They're going to take the gloves off, and if they feel the need to respond or say something about this in social media, they can. Now, this is a good and bad thing. Because some people think social media is Instagram and Facebook. World Star is still out there. You know what I'm saying? Twitter is out there. Snapchat is out there. And I can't wait for the first athlete to get caught with a Caucasian in a hotel room talking about, I'm taking one for the cause. We're trying to bridge unity. What is Jersey on? I'm just saying.
Bro, what? Oh.
Hey, whatever, bro.
You a wild dude, bro.
Hey, it's coming. I'm telling you. Nobody.
What did he say? I'm taking one for the culture. That what you just said?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing it for the culture.
You got to relax, bro.
Just like, who was it, Marion Barry? When they caught him on camera and he said, I'm doing it for the gram. But that's right. Instagram hadn't come out then.
You gotta chill, bro. Listen, no more Marion Barry slander on this channel, bro.
Hey, I salute him. You got caught palming a white prostitute's breast with coke on your nose in a hotel room, and guess what? You went back and ran and got elected again.
Man was good with the people. He was a man of the people.
He was.
Yeah,
when I moved to DC, hey, you seen the mayor? He wasn't in office then anymore, but you seen the mayor? He was at our barbershop today. I'm like, which mayor? Marion Barry, the only mayor. I'm like, wow. He was good for the people. And I guess he was good for the culture. I don't know. Shakira Stevenson lights it up tomorrow night. Looking forward to that, bro. He's the, as they say, the next great thing. But I really believe this time we might be right on something.
Been special for a while. Showed us just how good he can be. Kind of, got a little mainstream media back in there, coming off his Olympic performance where he got the silver medal, right?
Yeah.
Then turns pro, and right when all the big party players in boxing are trying to divvy up the pie, right? And he lands a deal with Top Rank, who's running with ESPN. and it's been a race ever since. I mean, we're starting to see. Well, maybe we're not seeing them even out the amount of promo they do for Loma, but we see them doing more with Crawford and Spence. Marrying those two together, having them be a mentor relationship, and then bringing in Andre Ward, who calls the color commentary for ESPN as like the head, the head maestro, have you, and it works perfectly. So I think he has the right engine behind him, and I can see him doing great things. He's gonna be rusty tomorrow, but his rusty is just so good. It's just so much better than everybody he fights. We probably won't even be able to see too much. Maybe he'll look a little off here and there, but Uncle Bob is playing this one right, and this is going to be a nice showcasing of Shakur Stevenson to the whole world because no other fights are on a Tuesday.
Well, his rusty is other people sharp. So, I mean, he is that good. And keep in mind, his opponent's going to be rusty too.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, it ain't like somebody been fighting, in another country. And everybody's been dark.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I kind of, draw that one up. 0-0 coming in. Whatever your talent level is going to help you excel because I don't think anybody's going to really have an advantage of being able to work consistently and stay in shape. Besides running, the cardio and stuff like that and mitt work. But yeah, I think we're all on an even playing field. So it's going to be who's the most talented here. And I think it's Shakur Stevenson. I didn't pull the card up, so I don't know who else is on the card. But
I know Michaela Mayer was the co-main event, I think, and her fight got scrubbed. I think she I don't know if she tested positive for COVID or if it was a bad test. But either way, if it's anything other than a negative, it counts as a positive, and you have to quarantine. So she won't be fighting tomorrow. So I was really looking forward to seeing how she's progressed since her last fight too. But we won't see her tomorrow.
Better safe than sad. That's the listen. I was looking during the UFC fight last weekend, and I'm trying to remember who it was who fought like a month ago on one of the UFC fights. And I wanted to bring this up because we saw it at a local level where guys would, who are regional boxers, local boxers, they will go somewhere else and get in a fight like a week or two later, as long as they don't get knocked out. You don't see it in professional boxing at the major levels as much. Once you get signed to a major, you don't see people coming back and fighting a month, 2 weeks to a month, to even 120 days. It's rare. How do you feel about that as far as MMA, where guys can get in a war and fight a month later?
The part of me that wants to see a fighter gets that share, right? The fighter share says let him fight as often as he can because you're dogging him out. You're really dogging him out. He has so many hands in his pocket, right? But then on the other hand, the fighter share side of me, the business side of me also says, well, I want to keep my guy as healthy as long as I can and get him paid the most I can with the least amount of damage. Mm-hmm. So if I can get you an increase by and over each fight you get, good. But if I can get you into 2 fights a year, I mean, you get paid just as much as you would have if you would have fought 5 times, then even better for you, right? So that's a slippery slope to slide down, man. Just because at the end of the day, these guys should be able to make as much as they're worth, right? And who makes that determining factor? And if they don't get knocked out in a fight, then also from being absolved legally from a legal standpoint, you can get back in there. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I guess you have to just play it on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, that would be my sentiments also. It worries me, the fact that we've gotten to know a lot of fighters and we've seen the dark side of fighting. Like, what the guy really looks like when they bring him to the back after he gets knocked out. And you see his family worried about him. So because we've had the advantage of getting to interview fighters, men and women, in that situation, and seeing the looks on their families' faces, sometimes it brings up some emotions and thoughts that the casual fan wouldn't think of. So, oh, good, he's getting to fight again. I remember Sean O'Grady, his first year, his dad got him 26 pro fights. There are only 52 weeks in a year. So he was fighting every other weekend, going from state to state. Sometimes he would lay off a week, or he'd go have 2 weeks in between. So that meant sometimes he went back to back, because they said he had 26 fights his first year. That's insane, bro.
I'm not even sure if it's. I think something might have been wrong with the pops.
Yeah.
I mean, how, man? How do you even feel like that's the right move? Like, how? Like, that's on some. That's on some almost like some overt dominating type of subservient shit. 26 fights.
That's insane, is what it is. That's insane.
Yeah, it's not even rational. I can't justify any of that. I mean, it's so absurd, it doesn't even sound real. Like when you said I'm still trying to process it. And I remember us researching this a while back. So I know that what you're saying is true, but just still hearing it now, it just still sounds ridiculous. It's like, no, that's not a true thing. That number is correct. That number is incorrect. Like there's no way he was fighting every other week on a pro level, on any level.
And he won a championship.
Yeah,
but he didn't keep it. I mean, yeah. I mean, to me, you're right. That's like, I don't know. That's like taking a kid and, beating them into a super football player or a super basketball player just so he can make the pros early, make his money, and then he's out the game before he really matures into a good basketball player.
It's just like kind of like a Tom Marinovich. That's exactly what I was thinking. That's.
I didn't want to call his name, but yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
That's exactly what it was like.
Check your ESPN 30 for 30 archive for that one.
Yes, it's the defense is good.
That's crazy.
I remember. Now I'm not a fan of Dan Dierdorf. I mean, I was not a fan of him as a commentator. I thought he sounded like the drunk man at the end of the bar, in the sports bar, the older one. Anyway, he said when Marinovich was playing for the Raiders, he just kept reiterating he should be a junior at USC right now. He should not be in the pros. He just kept saying it. And I'm like, why are you hating? But the more I started watching the kid, the more I understood what he was saying. He wasn't ready to read an NFL defense. He wasn't ready for the pressure of the NFL. He wasn't ready for the money of the NFL. He was a product of his dad, which his dad taught him the mechanics of football. And he was big and he was strong, but his dad didn't teach him the business of football. Maybe because he couldn't. But was it 2 years in the league and then they found him on the beach smoking marijuana?
Yeah, and that was the least he did, right?
Yeah,
or at least is what they told us, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, because when you look at Marcus Vick, they came out and told everything he did. Not Michael, folks. Marcus.
Yeah, little brother, that was wild.
Yeah,
that was wild.
I didn't know she was a teenager. Sorry. Bro, before I get to my story,
bro.
Where you want to go with this?
Now, just kind of circling back a little bit, kind of on the last topic you just brought up. So listen, bro, something's changing here, right? The world is undergoing a change right now. Jorge Masvidal, your boy, Cuban Street Jesus, comes out and says, "Hey, if I ain't worth it, let me go." Yeah, that's like his nickname. Like, yeah. Like if I ain't worth it, ESPN, let me go. Okay, that's John Jones coming out saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Conor alleges retirement. What's going on in the UFC, man?
Hey, the people that back that as his own may be putting money behind Bellator. Saying they're not going to Invicta. I guarantee that nobody goes to Invicta from the UFC unless they're traded.
No, but
Sorry.
dude,
Shout out to Mighty Mouse.
yeah, but no, but think about that, man. These guys are waking up.
Mhm.
They better put something. Hey,
I've heard too many of those fighters lay out what the contracts look like.
oh, listen. First of all, understand this: for all these people that have signed these management companies, if they're not negotiating better fights for you, hand over fist each time you fight, you have the wrong manager. Like, don't let them just get your money just because they'll take the time to read the contract, bro. You got guys out there like Adrian Clark and other guys that'll provide those services for you relatively free.
Yeah.
You don't even need a manager. Well, okay, I'm gonna stop.
You don't.
I'm gonna stop.
You can get Adrian Clark's book.
I'm giving out too much information. I'm gonna stop. Too much game right now.
What's that book?
Which one? He just dropped Dark Horse, right? That was the last one.
The one he came on the Fighter's Chair
Oh.
to talk about.
Yeah. I got me using my Google.
But
I
it
can't
shows
think
you
of
how to
something right
operate without a manager.
now. Yeah.
Look, the funny thing is, they originally tried to make John Jones look like the evil guy because he was complaining that he only made $5 million in a fight. And Daniel Cormier is like, the smart way to do it is, if you feel like you're worth 15 million, meet him in the middle and then get part of the pay-per-view. But that's if the UFC is willing to give up part of the pay-per-view to the fighter. $5 million sounds like a lot to people who are sitting on the couch watching the fight. But like John Jones said, he's worth what? Deontay Wilder money. That's $30 million. How much is the UFC making when you look at John Jones and Daniel Cormier did 800,000 pay-per-views in their first fight? And I think they did about the same in the rematch or a little more.
Yeah. They did well. The numbers were pretty good for both.
What's the average amount you pay for a pay-per-view?
For what, UFC?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe $69.99 maybe.
All right. So
they're not quite as expensive as the boxing cards, but they're all kind of close right there together. Yeah.
So
I think it's like
we'll look at $60. We'll say $60. Okay.
Yeah.
So if anybody who's good at math can give me 60 times 800,000, you're looking at 48 million, if I'm not mistaken.
A lot.
Yeah.
I know that.
So if we go 70, because $69.95 roughly give you 70, that's $56 million off the pay-per-views. Now, they charge a buttload of money for your live gate. Then they have endorsements that they've worked out. So you guarantee the UFC is making easily $200 million off this fight. Easily. And if you're paying your main eventers $5 million and $3 million, nobody else on that card is getting anything close. So it probably cost you $10 million to run the whole card. At the most, they probably came out of their pocket is $15 million. So, brother, even if they only made, I say $200 million easy, even if I back that down to $150 million, right?
Protect yourself at all times. My bad. Go ahead. I wasn't gonna stop until I got that book out.
Okay.
AC Clark book.
Protect Yourself at All Times by AC
Yep.
Clark.
Yep.
Get that. They can get that on Amazon. I think they can go to his website as well. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yep. Right to the website.
So now, even at the worst case scenario, they made $150 million on that.
Right.
After they paid everybody, they walked away with about $135 million.
That's probably a little high, but it was definitely in their favor. It was definitely in their favor.
Okay, so we'll say $100 million. You walk away with $85 million.
Yeah.
After you paid everybody.
Yeah.
And you're doing 2 pay-per-views a month, roughly. And then the fight nights. So you're killing the game. So I don't blame John Jones for saying, "Hey, I know I'm gonna sell out because they want to pay to see me lose. Give me my $30 million. Give me my 15 million. I don't have. I only have so many fights left in me at the top."
Yeah.
So that's all I was going with that.
I mean, look, this is nothing new, but again, people are starting to speak up and use their voices. And it's these conversations that they should have been having 5 years ago, 10 years ago, right? They should have been having these conversations long before now. But instead of working together, fighters kind of just keep their behaviors private, right? And it used to be the old marketing strategy used to be behavior is public, thoughts are private. Well, guess what? Now thoughts are public and behavior is private, right? The roles have kind of flipped with social media. So, I mean, look, but we all understand these conversations have been happening. And now guys are starting to speak the truth, and these guys are communicating, talking amongst each other. Some things are going to change, man. I don't know how quick, but they're changing.
Let me
Guys like John Jones and these other guys don't quite understand the leverage that they have. Not yet. They see it. They scratching the surface, but they ain't there yet.
Let's go back to the NFL for a second. Roger Goodell released a statement on Friday, a video. I know you saw the video. Talking about how he stands with the black athlete. He is against systemic racism against black people. He's against this. He's against that. I was wondering why Dominique Foxworth didn't jump all on him when he said that, because they had Dominique on First Take this morning instead of Stephen A. Smith. And then I started hearing other people say, even Dominique Foxworth came in and said that we got to remember who Roger Goodell works for. We think he's the end-all, be-all in the NFL, and he works for the owners. And he said he's negotiated his last collective bargaining agreement. And he's at this point where I guess he wants his legacy to be remembered something other than I'm gonna stand with the owners against Colin Kaepernick for taking a knee against police brutality. Now he's saying that the NFL was completely wrong and the stance they took. It's going to be very interesting because some of the commentators were stating, and again, sometimes ESPN has an agenda. So it'd be very interesting to see how this plays out. A lot of the commentators, Mike Greenberg, Foxworth, Max Kellerman, I can't remember who else was saying it, that Roger Goodell wanted Kaepernick back in the NFL, didn't want him out of the NFL, understood what the protests were about, but again, for whatever reason, doesn't matter, did not speak out when he could have 5 years ago or 4 years ago. I just want to know how you felt about it, because I think, injustice, I forgot how the quote goes, but silence usually tells me that even if you disagree, when you're not taking a stance, you agree by default.
I don't think I feel. I think Roger Goodell works for the commissioner. So Roger Goodell is the commissioner. He works for the owners. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. So I think we kind of understand that inherently he's going to be an asshole. Inherently, he's just the whipping boy for the owners. That's what he is. He is their representative, right? So he comes out and collectively speaks for the owners. He is their PR person, right? None of these owners have to issue statements, really. Roger Goodell spoke for the entire Shield. He spoke for the league, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe if you live in some of the more progressive states or liberal leaning states, you feel compelled to speak out more. But I mean, we all know who these owners are, right? We all know remember the Donald Sterlings. Remember the things that the owner of the Titans, not the Titans, I'm sorry, the Texans said, Bud Adams. That's a lot of stuff that he was reported on saying not too long ago before he passed away. So we kind of got a, Marge shot. We kind of got an idea of who these elite people are, right? And how they really feel. And now at the end of the day, we're all just pawns in their scheme or their game. And at the end of the day, sometimes there's a big racial element to that. So, I mean, look, Goodell is who he is. And like you said, there's some truth to what you said about him negotiating his last CBA. Because now he's like, okay, my job is done. I'm just lame duck now, right? I'm just kind of here to ride the wave out. So I want to come out against you guys a little bit I can, but your check's already cleared, right? So it doesn't matter. So that's just kind of my view on it.
Okay.
It's benign.
No, I agree. I thought you were going to bring up Jerry because Jerry was one of the first owners that said, nobody on my team will kneel.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jerry Jones obviously has a checkered past. I mean, I don't know why I didn't think about him off the top of my head, but I was just trying to hit the other major sports markets. But yeah, true indeed. Definitely Jerry Jones. Right here in Tampa, the Cover House.
Oh, man, that man was horrible.
That
man was horrible.
People forget that was the reason Bo Jackson didn't come to the Bucs. Bo Jackson would have been a Tampa Bay Buccaneer instead of an Oakland Raider.
And think about the team that he would have come to. Doug Williams would have still been here.
Yep, Leroy Selman.
They were stocked. That team was stacked, bro. The only one who may not have been here was Ricky Bell because
Jimmy Giles,
Kevin House.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had some pieces.
Hugh Green on defense. Oh my goodness. Even pieces. Dewey Selman. Yeah, they had some pieces, bro. They were a pretty phenomenal team. They still wouldn't have beat my Steelers even if they had beaten the Rams, but that's okay. That's okay. I was still pulling for them. I was pulling for the Bucs because they had Doug Williams. But you see, things that are ingrained sometimes even supersede your pocket. Because when you got rid of Doug Williams, the commercials that came out, you were way young, so I'm sure you don't remember the commercials that came out. They had older white males coming on TV talking about next year we're going to be just as good, if not better. So you want to be part of 65,000 screaming fans. This was the marketing they had to do because they knew they were going to lose that black crowd, which they did immediately. So they were hoping that the white fans would continue to fill the stadium. The one thing that they didn't count on is, like, black folks will support a black quarterback who's failing. Most white fans are going to support a winner. Now, you have your diehards who are going to come out week in, week out, rain, shine. But that casual fan who buys your season ticket or buys a ticket for the game, they're not going to come out if they don't have a winner. That's just what I've noticed on my time on this planet.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Everybody loves a winner, right?
Yeah.
So,
but I've seen us go out and support teams that are just floundering, bro. They're just floundering. Like the Knicks. We will go see the Knicks when they had, well, no, they were pretty good when they had Patrick. Because it was right after the Bernard King era. So they would support the Knicks even during them down seasons. The Bulls, they'll support the Bulls during the down seasons. If you have one superstar on there, the owners have found out, we will support you. We will support you.
I mean, I guess, I don't know. Does every team have a superstar?
Who?
I said, does every team have a superstar? Because if so, then we're really diluting what the word superstar means.
Yeah, you're right. I say if you have a real BMOC, big man on campus, somebody's going to look up to that person.
Yeah.
It's the only game in town.
Yeah, it's true.
Listen, I I ran this story past somebody and they said, man, I don't know if you should tell it. It's a short one. So I heard this a long time ago. There were these two sperm and they were swimming side by side.
Why?
And one of them said, hey, how much farther to the egg? And the other one said, I don't know, but we just passed the tonsils.
I mean, I should have stopped when you said there were two sperm. Okay, we stopping this joke right now. That was a moment I should have interjected and be like, bro, we're not doing this tonight. But instead, I let you play it out to see how that was gonna end. And
See?
No, we're not gonna do no more jokes like that. We good. You just saying
Well, I could have been told you a childish joke. Like, what did one belch say to the other belch? Let's be thinkers and come out the other end. But I figured you one of the more mature jokes. I went with the sperm.
Let's not pause. Let's not even say that word on the show. We good on that. We good. We good.
All right, bro. I ain't mean to make any uncomfortable situations come up.
No, nothing uncomfortable. We just want to say the word. That's all.
That's true. I mean, that's just not something guys say to each other.
Late night podcast. It's nah. We're not doing that. I'm not doing that.
My bad. Hey, anything else you want to put up on here? I think it's been a good show so far.
Man, show was dope. I'm good, man. Third procession was on point.
Listen, we're gonna have better lighting tomorrow. I like this logo behind me.
That's pretty hard.
But that flare.
See you slipping and bobbing and weaving. I see you.
Look,
yeah.
I ain't got no hair, so I can't bob and use my weave. So I got to bob and weave.
Okay.
We were watching the UFC fight, and I told my wife, I said, "You could walk right into the UFC and be a champion."
She got that lumber, boy. I'm sure she could.
Yeah.
Putting her to sleep.
And ain't nobody in her division. So I'm saying I would manage her in a heartbeat. But she does have that lumber. She does have that lumber. Shout out to my wife and my daughter. Love y'all.
Hey, we appreciate y'all riding with us, man. Make sure y'all catch us tomorrow and Thursday and next Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday after that at 11 Eastern Standard Time. It's been the Beatdown Fighter Show Report every Sunday and Wednesday, 7 p.m. Fighter Show Nation. We out of here.